Hi, my name is Noel Davis with World Composting, and today we're going to continue finishing up our hamster bedding bin that has African Nightcrawlers in it. So we've stopped adding any more hamster bedding to this material. I've added water. It's been 24 days since our last update, which was longer than I expected, but I did have a vacation where I posted a nice video of me on one of the peaks in the Adirondacks here in New York. And you know, it's been a little longer than expected, but it's time to really dig into this. We're going to probably move all of the material over to one side. We're going to add in some regular paper material, some food, and we're going to try to lure all the worms to the other side so we can harvest all this material from the hamster bedding material. We're going to continue keeping the system going, and then eventually we'll move the African Nightcrawlers to another system. But I really want to try to get them to be healthier than they have been. It feels like this system's been just sort of dying down and just chugging along, or trudging along begrudgingly. And I really want to kind of fix that. So with that, let's take a look at the system after 24 days, see how it's doing. It looks like from the outside it looks very dry because it's kind of hot here right now and it's drying out for some reason. But, we'll take a look. We'll see what we can do to fix it. We'll see if we get these worms healthy and get this moving along. So with that, let's go to the system. All right, so here's our system. Our last update was on the 15th. Today is the 9th, so 15 plus 9, 24 days. And here we go. Here's our system in the top. Now, I didn't see, when I first pulled this out, I didn't see any bugs come off it, which is a good sign, because I did, I think, put some diatomaceous earth, or, dolomite on here, which I do have links down below if you're looking to purchase that, but this looks like kind of a muddy mess, really. This hasn't looked good for a while now. There is one worm in the bedding. It looks kind of dry, but kind of not right. So what we're going to do now is we're going to go ahead and start mixing this up, and then we're going to add some fresh bedding material to this system, and we're going to see what we can do. Now, first off, before we do that, though, there is a worm here. They look very, very small, very light. It looks like this is too dry in here. It looks like too much of the moisture has escaped, although it feels about right, I think, the material, but it seems a little bit dry. But we're going to go ahead and dig this out. We're not going to really dig through it this time and look how it's doing. I think this system is just not doing great, and we're just going to go ahead and finish this up. So what we're going to do right now is we're going to kind of fluff everything. It does look a little better. I think there's some I think if we added diatomaceous earth, that has sort of like an anti-caking property to it to kind of make things break up a little bit more. Maybe if I do have some nearby, but not quite handy. But maybe if we added a little bit in there. So we get chunks like this where it's really just sort of sticking together, although it is starting to flake apart a little better than I feel it was. But this doesn't feel too bad. I mean, it's a little bit muddy feeling, but not overly muddy feeling. Actually, let's just check out the other side here real quick too. I'm not seeing many worms, although there are some in here. They're probably desperately looking for food. We haven't really added stuff to this in a while, as we've been trying to get ready to get this ready for harvest. So you can see there's a lot of small worms, but you get chunks like this though, but they are breaking apart. So there's still some paper in here and things like that. Not seeing any cocoons, but I'm flipping this very fast. But the idea that we really want to do is we want to kind of get this all to one side, get it loosened up a little bit. Actually, it looks a lot better than it did. It didn't look very good from the top, but this feels a little better. It's still a little bit chunky compared to where it should be, where it's very it should be almost like sand, really, in a way, as far as how it just kind of could flake off through your fingers, but it's not like that at all. You got these bigger chunks in here. So let's move this all to one side. As I said, we're not going to look through this. We're just going to see if we can lure the worms out and see what's going on. So while I'm doing that, I'm sort of breaking up some of these chunks. So overall, that's okay, but not great. It's getting better, though. But right now, what we're going to do is we're going to do a big feeding in here. And, well, not feeding, I want to say. We're going to add some fresh bedding material. There's a couple bugs crawling out of there now. We're going to add, let's start with our bedding material here. So I'm going to go ahead and grab a moistened canister of paper. And I wanted to add quite a bit because I wanted to give them a really good area to go into. So this is fresh paper. It's wet with our water that has the BTI or mosquito dunks in it. And if you're looking to purchase those, I've got some links down below that are go to all my products actually on either on the Amazon store or in kit.co, or I actually built a website to just have the information if anybody were to be looking at but didn't trust any of those other sites. It has referral links on them. If you don't mind clicking those when you're purchasing from Amazon, it does help me out a little bit. And from there, what we're going to do now is we're going to add some food, and we're going to add a food that they really, really like in this system. At least I've not had worms not like it, and that is watermelon. So we're going to go ahead and pull some of that up. We're going to leave a space right here. Try to get some of this cardboard off my fingers. And and it's frozen right now. It's frozen watermelon right here, as you can see. So we're going to pull off some of this and just go ahead and add it to this section over here. And the idea is to just sort of lure the worms out to this section of the system. And that way we can harvest the material over here. Now, this is hamster waste, so I have no desire to use this in my yard where people might travel or anything like that. It should be fully composted. It should be safe, but I don't take those chances. I don't recommend you do either, unless you're really, really good. I really do recommend, if you're going to use something like this in your yard, that you do hot composting where you know it's going to kill any pathogens or anything like that. So there we go. There's a little bit more maybe, because this stuff does tend to shrink down in the system. There we go. And now what we want to do is I'm going to, of course, add my crushed crab and eggshell. They're going to need some grit. I do have a mask here. Highly recommend you wear a mask when doing this stuff. With anything that could damage your lungs if you're working with dusts of any kind. So this is a crushed crab and eggshell mix. I think it's primarily eggshell now. We don't get crabs quite as often. They've really jumped up in price. But there we go. We've got some crushed crab and eggshell in there. We're going to go ahead and fold this over now. And I'm not going to add any extra moisture to this system. This has all been pre-soaked. There's a lot of water in watermelon. And then we're going to go ahead and cover this up a little bit just to see if we get the worms to kind of work through all this stuff as well. So there we go. There we go. That's covered up nicely. And the last part of this, and I really feel that they are doing a good job. They did really work on this material. It's just, for some reason, this system just sort of deteriorate very rapidly when it got full. So we're going to put our label on this side, showing right here that we fed, and then we have the food and harvest, because we're going to harvest this system. The idea is to get all the worms out of this into this really good section and get them out of there. We're going to go ahead and peel these labels off. We don't need these on here anymore. But we are working to harvest this system and kind of get the worms out of here, and then probably put them in another system and then rinse this out and restart this one again. So with that, let me put the top back on here and grab that. This is a quick update, as you can tell. We're not adding a whole lot of stuff here. But we're going to go ahead and put this top back on. Now, actually, while I'm looking at this, I noticed right over here, let me raise this up to you. It looks like a worm had tried to crawl out and didn't make it. It dried out right there. So, this system was not doing great. Hopefully this will help it out. Hopefully we'll be able to check it a little bit sooner. I don't have any travel plans coming up. So, hopefully it's not as bad. But with that, thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed, and I hope you are doing this as well to get rid of your hamster waste, composting it instead of throwing it in the trash, which I did for a lot when I was a kid, because I had multiple hamsters. I always used to just throw the bedding out, but I really should have been composting it. I never really thought to do that. So hopefully I've encouraged people to start composting their hamster stuff, and we'll work also on our red bin or our red wiggler bin that has hamster bedding as well. That's the one that's going to continue to keep working. It seems to be doing a little better with the lid on top and the worms, so we'll be filling some hamster bedding in that one soon. So thank you for watching. Again, I do have Amazon links down below to purchase bins and other things if you're interested. And let me know what you think. Thank you again.